Back on the town hall now with a pocketbook story for a lot of families watching. For a long time now, we've seen health care get more and more expensive. One report shows out-of-pocket costs on average went up another 10% last year. And the Kaiser Family Foundation found that almost half of Americans say it's difficult to afford the out-of-pocket costs that are not covered by their insurance. Well, that has prompted a lot of people to question our Verify team about deducting those growing costs on your taxes. Remember, just 46 days until you have to file your return with the IRS. So tonight, the answer to those wondering about this particular tax benefit. Here's the question. Can you deduct medical expenses on your federal taxes? Let's verify. Our sources, Mark Stieber, Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt, and the IRS.
For most Americans, it's not something that you generally see.
Stieber says most people don't deduct their medical expenses because you need to have large medical bills in order to make it worthwhile. IRS rules state that you can deduct only if the amount of your total medical expenses exceeds 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. You can figure out that number by filling out this form, known as Schedule A for your 1040.
So basically, you take your income with a couple of modifications, multiply that by 7.5%, and you can take as a tax deduction the amounts over that.
Let's say your adjusted gross income is $60,000. Multiply that by 0.075. That equals $4,500. So you could deduct your medical expenses above that amount. If you spent $6,000 out of pocket, you could deduct $1,500. The IRS says those deductible medical care expenses may include costs for diagnosis, cure, treatment, or prevention of disease. Because the bar is set so high, most people only qualify if they have a catastrophic medical condition. But seniors may be more likely to be eligible.
People like seniors who may have low income because they may be retired and have higher medical costs.
Now to the tricky part. You can only claim medical deductions on your federal taxes if you itemize. And for most people, the standard deduction actually gives a lower tax payment or a higher refund. You can calculate your return both ways and see which gives you the better bang for your buck. So we can verify, yes, you can deduct medical expenses, but only if the amount exceeds 7.5% of your adjusted gross income and only if you choose to itemize. So again, that's dealing with your federal taxes. One other thing to keep in mind, though, you can itemize your state taxes even if you don't do it for federal. So essentially, even if you don't deduct your medical expenses on your 1040 because you choose the standard deduction instead, which is what most people do, you still might be able to choose those medical deductions for your New York State return. The same 7.5% adjusted gross income rule would apply for New York State.